Only on CBS this morning, the American tourist kidnapped and held captive for nearly 5 days in Uganda is opening up about the terrifying abduction, and terrifying is a word. Kimberly Endicott was her name. She was on safari in Queen Elizabeth National Park when 4 men kidnapped her and her tour guide. Now we're happy to say she's back home in California, just weeks after a ransom was paid to her captors.
What made you want to go to Uganda? What were you seeking?
Gorillas.
You wanted to go see the gorillas?
Yeah, it's something I've wanted to do probably since I saw Gorillas in the Mist. And then as I got older, I thought, you better make this happen.
Make it happen, she did. Earlier this month, 57-year-old Kimberly Endicott fulfilled a dream on a trip to the Ashasha Wilderness Camp in Uganda.
That first day, I'm standing there, and all of a sudden, one of them, a female, comes out, and as she's walking by me, she grabs my inner thigh. Everybody's like, oh my God. And then minutes later, another one nudged me. And all the guides said, you are very lucky.
But her luck would run out, and that dream would become a nightmare. On her 3rd day in the country, she visited Queen Elizabeth National Park. It's a large protected area in the western part of Uganda, a park filled with the wild animals of Africa, a destination for tourists. Kimberly was driving through the park with an elderly Canadian couple and their guide, J.P. Marengo Remezo.
All of a sudden, 4 men come out of a perfectly square bush that's in front of us. And my first thought was, there must be something happening behind us, and that these are rangers.
Why did you think they were rangers? Did they have on uniforms?
They're armed. They have guns. Looking at them, it became apparent pretty quickly that no, that's not what this is. They were not in uniform. They were ragtag. And then they made us get out of the vehicle.
So are they pointing the guns at you?
Yes. They make us sit on the ground. And that's where things go very, I don't know how to describe it. There's really not a word to describe what that felt like. Pure fear, but that almost doesn't do it justice. And then boom. And it felt like a vortex sucking us in.
The gunman left the elderly couple behind, but told Kimberly and JP to come with them.
He had me by the arm, and he was, run, 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 or I'll slap you. Run, 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 or I'll slap you. But that's when I felt him shaking. And
the kidnapper was shaking.
When he had a hold of my arm. And I thought to myself, is this methamphetamines? Is this fear? So,
did that give you some comfort to know that maybe he was nervous?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Because if it's drugs, then I'm in a world of problems. So I'm running through bush, hard ground, and needles, and I remember I keep yelling, my feet, my feet, my feet. If you do what we say, you'll be okay. And I remember I just kept saying, you took me away, you took me away. And this weird gulping that I kept doing, I found out later that's actually a fear response.
What are you thinking is going to happen? Where is he taking you?
That's what I don't know.
Is it still daylight at this point?
Still daylight.
Okay.
Still daylight. And then the sun is setting, and we keep walking. And it gets to complete, like, pitch darkness. So at one point, we stopped. And I look up in the sky, and I see the most beautiful sky I've ever seen in my life. And
I'm surprised you could appreciate a beautiful sky at that moment.
It was incredible. It's nothing like I've ever seen before. And that was when I became very aware of humanizing myself to them. I said, look at the sky. I said, we don't have this at home. And I said, do you see that? That's the Milky Way. That became my mission for myself, was to be human with them. Not only for them to see me that way, but for me to see them that way.
So it's like in the middle of all of this, you're trying to come up with a strategy, it sounds like.
Very much so.
Are you crying?
No,
Are you screaming?
not
Are
at
you
all.
talking?
Not at all.
What are you doing at this point?
I'm just being in it.
Were you thinking that they were going to hurt you,
Yes.
attack you?
Constantly. I don't know these men.
Yeah. So what
I
was the
don't know what they're
dialogue in your
capable
head
of.
about that?
Well, how do I get them to shoot me? And just shoot me instead of dismembering me or raping me? How do I do that? If I ran, I think that would just make them angry. And I think I would probably get treated pretty badly if I tried to run.
And where are you running to, by the way?
There's no place to run.
Yeah. But you were never physically or
No.
sexually assaulted or
No.
or hurt.
No. No. But that was my greatest fear.
So you thought, if something bad is going to happen, you're thinking, please let it happen quickly.
Yes. I have no idea what they're capable of. I have no idea what their motivation is at this point. All I know is they took me away.
I liked her so much, guys, because of course it's only been 2 weeks. She's still very nervous and it's still difficult for her to talk about. But I said, how were you able to even think, how do I be human? She remembers that kidnapping in Atlanta where the woman started thinking about a purpose-driven life book and how the woman in that situation said, let me become human to them and they to me. She said, I just went back to that and thought, what can I talk about? What can we do? And in the end, she really did end up having a conversation, so much so that when it was over, they said, Kimberly, we'll miss you. Kimberly, can we stay in touch? We'll talk about that in the next half hour.
And explain how she eventually got out.
Explain how she eventually got out and how she's back home. Listen, she's a mother. She's a grandmother. Her daughter's 38. She has a 7-year-old granddaughter. She's a really, really, really amazing woman.
I'm excited to hear more.
Yeah. In our next hour, and I'm going to bring it to you. In our next hour, Nora, we'll bring you more of our conversation with Kimberly Endicott. She shares the details of the release and how the ordeal still torments her today.